What is going on, everybody? I don't know what the hell is going on here. I just got a new setup. Set up a new template for my live streams, and this thing, everything was working fine like 20 minutes ago, and then as soon as I hit action, things are just completely out of sorts. But welcome to Lineman Life Live. I am your observant lineman, Uche Nwaneri. Appreciate you guys for being in here today. Yesterday, unfortunately for me, could not get it together to have the live stream, so my apologies there. But we are here today on Thursday. Not typically the day that I would not typically the day that I would be out doing a live stream, but we're going to do that today. And we're going to talk about a couple of different things. I think that there's obviously still that big ESPN story that is reverberating throughout sports media. We're going to talk some more about that. But also we're going to touch a little bit on the Olympics and their situation. And honestly, I think I'm going to start with the Olympics because, that's going to be a little bit quicker of a story to go through and give my thoughts on as we get back into the ESPN drama. That's going to take much longer, so probably would do us well to start out with that. That'll give people time to file on in. Make sure you like and share. Let's get some more people in here. Let's start a conversation. Let's get y'all chatting. I think that would be a great thing to boost the live stream. But yeah, so let's go ahead. Let's get into first topic here. We're flip-flopping. We're going to start off with the story out of the Olympics. The Olympics are in Tokyo this year. Obviously, this was supposed to happen last year. And clearly, with the pandemic, the Olympics were postponed. So, leading up to the 2020 Olympics, we are now sitting in a position of some flux. And that's really because apparently right now, there is a outbreak of COVID in Tokyo, which is, the capital of Japan. That's the biggest city in Japan. I've actually been to Japan a number of times. I've spent some pretty significant time in Tokyo. I've been all around Japan, actually. I've been to Tokyo, I've been to Hiroshima, I've been to Osaka, been to Kyoto, been to Iwakuni, been to a number of spots. So, I know I've spent well over a month, a couple of times there. And it's a beautiful country, beautiful country, amazing people, amazing service, amazing mindfulness amongst the people in Japan. People in Japan are really very respectful, very positive. They're trying to help you. If you need help with something, they help you. There's a lot in way of their societal norms that, all of us from any country could actually learn from. They got some really unique stuff that they do there, and they got some really cool things and really cool ways that they handle their day-to-day life. But right now, as far as the Olympics is concerned, they got to make some decisions. So it says here, Tokyo's Olympic venues won't have spectators in the stands after all. The news comes as Japan enters a COVID state of emergency. So, it ain't over. It ain't over, folks. We thought it was over. It's not over yet. Damn. As Japan enters a COVID-19 state of emergency just 2 weeks out from the start of the postponed 2020 Summer Olympics, Tokyo organizers have banned all spectators for the events, changing course from an earlier rule that only prohibited international fans from attending. Officials confirmed the stands will now go unoccupied. In the wake of rising COVID-19 cases across the country, organizers met in an emergency meeting Thursday to discuss the best approach to avoiding a super spreader situation at the games. While speaking on the current situation in Japan, where the incredibly contagious Delta variant continues to spread, Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga said the Olympics will not fall victim to the virus, but rather it will be an example of fortitude in the face of adversity. New York Times reports, I want to transmit to them a message from Tokyo about overcoming hardship with effort and wisdom, Suga said in a broadcast. Per the announcement, fans will be barred from all events in Tokyo and surrounding areas, though a few events, including the marathon, will be held at areas not affected by the state of emergency, which means fans may be allowed to attend. Japan officially entered a state of emergency on Monday. The move comes after Tokyo reported 920 new cases last week, marking an unfortunate milestone as the highest number since May. The state of emergency will continue through the entirety of the Olympics. Though the impact of COVID-19 has been lesser in Japan, the death toll stands at just over 14,800. Wow. Wow, that's actually a pretty damn good job for a small island that has about 40 million people on it. Compared to other countries, the country has struggled to keep up with the slower vaccine rollout. Especially if the Delta variant spreads at an alarming rate. So, in a nutshell, it's going to be the bubble for the Olympics, pretty much. It's going to be the bubble. It's crazy because we're looking at this situation with them in Tokyo, and they're, and maybe this just speaks to the level of seriousness that people in different countries take when it comes to this pandemic. Because, come on, let's be honest. Let's be honest, folks. We didn't do a good job with this pandemic at all. 500,000 plus that have died. Come on. That's not, I look at the number for the Japanese death toll, and it's at just over, they're almost at 15,000 total. How many times better than us is that as far as deaths? That's crazy, right? Like, they've got a lot of people in their country, and their country is far more compact. Japan is Japan's building structures, just the way that they build on their land is vertical. So everything is packed in and vertical. So people are actually in very close contact a lot. People are kind of forced to be in that, unless you live in the rural areas, which are on the outskirts, northern Japan. Japan is very compact, and people are in very close quarters, relatively speaking, when you compare that to the U.S., where you have this large piece of land that is, expansive. Although we have like close to 400 million people, there is still a lot of space for people to be able to avoid being close to others. Like, there's not that kind of natural crampedness. It's a thing in Japan, in Tokyo especially, because Tokyo is actually a pretty damn big city. I've been to Tokyo. Obviously I've already stated that I've been to Tokyo, and I actually kind of know parts of Tokyo fairly well, just from having been out there for an extended period of time. So it's saying something that they only had 14,800 deaths, but they have obviously, off of 920 new cases, they have, taken that very seriously. I think that at the end of the day, regardless of the survival rate of these viruses, it still can kill people. And Japan is an older country. Japan's population is very, their average age is very old compared to the rest of the world. And their rate of new births in Japan is like very low. Like, there's not new kids being born in their country like that. So you have a huge, massive elderly population. So, that is dangerous for them. If they have an outbreak, if they have a super spreader event. And it's crazy because, my kids are half Japanese, and they won't even if you're they won't even let Americans come to Japan right now, because we were planning on trying to go to the Olympics, and you can't even go. They won't even let you go. Japan will not allow Americans, as travelers and tourists, unless you are with someone who is Japanese. You can't go there. They won't let you go. I think that's kind of wild. But hey, it's their country. I mean, shoot, they get to decide how they do that. But I just feel like this is gonna be, we're gonna be in a bubble-like situation for the Olympics, which, you watch the Olympics on TV. Are you really paying attention to the crowd like that? It was never really a crowd kind of thing for me when you're talking about the track events, when you're talking about these triathlete events, when you get to the more competitive sports, or not more competitive, but the directly competitive sports like soccer, like basketball. Now those, you may have a little bit of crowd influence there in terms of energy, but you're not going to really see that when you're watching, the 100-meter sprint or the 200-meter or the relays or, pole vaults, things like that. Those are events that, you can watch that don't necessarily need crowds at them. I just feel like that's not going to be a huge thing if they don't have crowds in the, in parts, for different parts of the Olympics. But again, there'll be some where it does actually play into the excitement of the competition. So we'll see how that plays out. But let's check out Super Chat here from The Greg. The Greg for $5. The Greg, man, what's up, man? It's been a minute. I hadn't seen you on here in a minute. Okay. Uche, you aware Tom Brady has more wins in his career than the entire Jaguars organization has in its existence? Go Pats. Fuck Tom Brady. No. Okay. Appreciate that. That little bit of knowledge there. A little bit of knowledge there, Greg. You the man. You the man. But I see some people in here talking in the chat. Japan is allowed to control their borders. I mean, Japan is a small island, my guy. They're not sharing their borders with any other country. So let's not go into the border shit, because they're an island. They're by themselves. They literally, it is their border only. That's the only border. It's that and the ocean. So I don't really understand what you're saying there. That doesn't make sense. Survival rate 99.7. Lol shut down the world. Yeah. That is a country's choice to shut down. I mean, we're not going to go deep. We're not jumping into a political conversation here, but you got to be honest with yourself. A disease that can cause death and that can spread very quickly is not something to be taken lightly. It spread around the world in 3 months. It got around the entire world, and it was killing a lot of people because we didn't know how to deal with it, because we didn't know what we were dealing with. A year later, with the luxury of hindsight, we can see that it was of danger, but there were some things that we may have overcalculated, but you'd rather be overly cautious than not cautious enough. I mean, I don't know what to say. Rather safe than sorry. I mean, I have a very close friend, actually, who died. I have a cousin who died from it. Those are two people that are in my life that have passed away from the virus directly. And it's weird that we are even talking about this, because the brother of my good friend who passed away actually hit me up this morning. So you know, it is what it is. Let's see here. Tired of watching sports with no fans. Yeah, it depends. It depends on the sport, I guess, It depends on the sport. I think that for the Olympics, you can get through some of it without fans, and it won't be as noticeable as you think it is. Like it'll be all right. But yeah, I mean, it felt good. I think everybody thinks it felt good when we saw, the return of fans in basketball, in hockey. We're seeing these fans come back in our competitive sports. I thought that was great. I mean, nobody wanted this, nobody wanted empty stadiums forever. I mean, hell, shoot, nobody wanted that. I mean, that's part of, as an athlete being out there on the field. I mean, look, I didn't really envy football players last season because, man, it would have been weird to play in games with no crowds. Even with the boomed in noise that they brought in with speakers, like that's not the same as like an actual crowd. Like, and even as an athlete, you don't necessarily hear the crowd, but you feel the crowd. Like I never really heard the crowd during football games, but I did feel them. I could feel the crowds, and you felt it. I mean, there'd be some plays where I'm blocking a cat, and we're on the ground, and we're just looking at each other, getting up, and then you hear the crowd. You don't even know if the play was successful because, I'm in the trenches, wrestling with a cat, and the play is off somewhere else. So, the crowd's reaction, you feel that. If it was a good play. If it was something, if it worked. Because the crowd is there. The crowd, you can feed off that energy sometimes, So, of course, everyone wanted the crowds to be back. I don't think anybody wanted to continue without crowds in sports. It was a weird thing to begin with. But hopefully we can just get through these Olympics. At some point, officially, this pandemic will be over. And we'll be able to kind of move on as a global society. But as long as it's still going, it's going to be little setbacks like this when you see little spikes. Hell, isn't India India's being like completely ravaged by COVID right now, if I'm not mistaken. They are having it's like really bad. It's like, I think they're saying like people are getting getting black lungs or something like that. Like some kind of crazy mess is happening over there. So, it's not over yet. It's not over yet, but we're getting there. We're getting there. So moving on to our next story. And this one, obviously, this is the big elephant in the room. It's the elephant in the room here in the sports world in the U.S. And, we're going to talk about it some more. Talked about it in the last live stream. I think I gave my perspective on it as well as I could. I don't think that a lot of people are looking at this situation with the open enough mind, or at least with the logical process of thought that really does kind of hone in on what is really happening with this whole ESPN, Rachel Nichols, Maria Taylor situation. Because it's, to me, I can see what's happening. I think, at least from what I think, I can see what's going on here. And I really am having a hard time understanding how a lot of people how are people so quick to just literally label this as racism to me. I just can't. I don't understand that. I don't understand it because I've tried to look at it from. I've tried to take those different stances, those different opinions, and make them mine and see how it fits to me in a logical way. And It just, to me, it doesn't fit. But let's get into this article. It says ESPN removes Rachel Nichols from NBA Finals sideline coverage after leaked comments. ESPN benched reporter Rachel Nichols from covering the NBA Finals from the sidelines after recording surfaced of her making disparaging comments about her colleague Maria Taylor. In leaked audio, Nichols, who is white, reportedly criticized ESPN last year for choosing Taylor, who is black, there they go again, to report on the sidelines of the NBA Finals over her. If you need to give her more things to do because you're feeling pressure about your crappy long-time record on diversity, which, by the way, I myself know personally, go for it. Just find it somewhere else. The recording said, according to the New York Times, Nichols apologized on Monday's edition of The Jump, a show she co-hosts on ESPN. I also don't want to let this moment pass without saying how deeply, deeply sorry I am for disappointing those I hurt, particularly Maria Taylor. Instead of Nichols, reporter Malika Andrews will give sideline reports. The network said Nichols will still host The Jump during the NBA Finals. Taylor, a 7-year veteran of ESPN, is still scheduled to host NBA Countdown for the Finals. The series between the Milwaukee Bucks began Tuesday at 9 p.m. Reactions to the controversy have been swift, not only targeting Nichols, but also ESPN. You don't see a lot of black women in the role that Maria is in. She hears that 100 times a day. And so to hear that from a colleague, another woman, I can imagine, that would be very harmful or hurtful to her. Jamel Hill, former ESPN host, recently told CBS this morning. I don't know. That to me is not an accurate statement. You don't see a lot of black women in the role that Maria is in. I don't believe that. She hears that 100 times a day. I don't believe that. And I know that's hyperbole. She doesn't mean literally 100 times a day, but I don't know if I believe that because me myself, I went to Purdue University. Purdue University is in West Lafayette, Indiana. Purdue University is considered one of the best universities in the country. And it's, a lot of people confuse it as a Ivy League school when it's really just a public state school. But when I tell people that I went to Purdue, they are impressed by that. But rarely do I hear people say that they would have never have expected me as a black person, as an African person, to go to a school like Purdue. I don't think I've ever heard that. Now, you don't have to say that for me to get that from you if you're in your response, but a lot of times people genuinely are impressed because Purdue is not a school, one, that people naturally associate with sports, or with football at least as a successful football program. And two, a lot of people's first inclination when you hear somebody say Purdue is that they think it is an Ivy League level school. So it's just impressive to meet somebody who went there. It's not even necessarily associated with, race. So to me, when I hear someone say that, I think in 2021, you don't hear, that's not on people's minds as much as they're trying to make you believe. I rarely think about fucking race. I just don't. I think about race when I'm thinking about jokes, when I'm joking around with homies, when we're making jokes about each other. That's probably the most that it comes up in my, if I have to think about my day-to-day life. So I don't really understand why that kind of talking point continues to pop up when it's just not the same. Black folks are doing much better, and there's still more that can be done, but generally everybody, we've kind of all seen that things are beginning to mix in, our society is mixing together more and more all the time. Now, is there still a lot of shit that I believe is a problem in this country? Absolutely. But speaking in this at a micro level, in this regard, I don't know that, I think that's just something good to hear somebody say for a soundbite or a quote, but I don't think that's I don't really feel like that's truly accurate. Like, I see a black woman who is successful and I'm hyped. I feel like props. Hell yeah, do your thing. I see any person, white, black, whatever, who's successful, do your thing. Or let's do business together. Like, I'm trying to get in with what you're doing. So it's really, it's just weird to me sometimes. It's weird to like see that some folks really go there and really like think that another person's goal is to disparage you all the time. That's what they wake up and live to do. That's what they living for. Like, nah, I don't buy that because I don't see that. And when I do, on the off chance, have to deal with something like that, I mean, I deal with it in my way. I don't need everybody to know what's going on. But let's continue. It says, meanwhile, Mariah Rose, the daughter of ESPN host and former NBA star Jalen Rose, had this to say. Maybe instead of crying and calling Maria a diversity token, which she did not call her. See, that's the problem. Don't make up shit. Don't make up shit. That's where I get annoyed with this whole situation, is that people who are taking Maria's side, that's fine. Take her side if you want to, but don't make up and don't put words into her mouth. Instead of crying and calling Maria a diversity token, you could direct that energy to people who think there can only be one woman on that stage. And if this, and look, I mean, this is the shit that kills me. If Jalen Rose's daughter actually fucking listened to the actual recording and listened to it more than once and listened to understand what exactly was being said, would you think that Rachel Nichols was crying? I didn't get that at all. I got that somebody was worried about her job getting took and seeing that it was the company trying to fucking play her. They tried to play, they did play her. They absolutely did. She was calling out ESPN for trying to play her so that they could make their image look better. She wasn't saying that Maria wasn't capable. She gave props to the woman. She did give props to the woman. And from there, she said, but you ain't taking that bread out of my pocket. That's not a race thing. That's a money thing. That's a livelihood thing. That's a business thing. Like, any locker room in any sports, any business meeting room in any corporate company, if you're sitting at a high position and you climb that ladder and you got your bag, and then they try to like be slick and take it from you, you're gonna fight that. It don't matter what it is or who it's for. If you feel like you're being cheated, you're gonna fight that. Rachel Nichols has that she's host the NBA Finals in her contract. So if I had in my contract that I was supposed to get paid this amount of money on this day, and on that day or 2 days before that day, they say, you know what? Why don't you let us give you half of that money, and we're going to give the other half to another player so that we can like close the deal with him so we can keep the team tight. Nah. Hell nah. You not taking my money to give to another player. Y'all motherfuckers should have the money, or y'all need to figure out how y'all gonna get him the money through some other means. But you already this is already in my contract. I'm supposed to get this on this day. Y'all ain't taking my money. Give me my money and find money for that person. That's what any logical person would. That's the response. You're going to give up half of your yearly pay to somebody else, even if they're on the same team? I don't know anybody that's going to do that. I don't know anybody that's going to do that. I would never do that. And I would never hate on the person who's trying to get their money. Hey, we all in this to get our bread. So go do you, get your bread. But just know, the company is trying to take mine, and I ain't going for it. ESPN is the enemy here. ESPN is the bad guy. I don't think Rachel Nichols is the bad guy at all. I think people got hella sensitive because she called ESPN's diversity bullshit out, because ESPN, they've been, look, I am all for it, for diversity. I'm all for inclusion. I'm all for positivity, but I'm not for motherfuckers masquerading. And ESPN has been masquerading as this diversity leader when you see with this situation in and of itself, you see how they handle diversity. They ain't shit. They a bunch of bitches too. So they masquerading as a diverse company. Masquerading. They are not truly a company that believes in it. It is the trend of the times that they're riding the wave of diversity on. But they are not a true believer and perpetrator of a diverse environment within their own company. And everybody in their company knows that. So why can we sit here and not analyze and process and see that they literally have pitted two women, two minorities, one black woman, one white woman, who are both in a minority category, have pitted them against each other, and they're allowing the race card to be the decider so that it takes all the pressure off them. So it makes it easy for them to say, you know what, in the best interest of, the company, in the best interest of the finals, we're going to let Maria Taylor do the finals, and we're actually going to pull Rachel Nichols completely out, because now they got Maria Taylor, they got her brainwashed, clearly, because she comes out and says she don't want to work with Rachel Nichols at all, but she ain't even really took the time to really understand what the situation really is. That's the shit that kills me about how this shit can get too far gone sometimes. Like, that don't make sense to me. That don't make sense to me. And even further, ESPN, they might be getting a lawsuit. They might be getting sued soon by Rachel Nichols. And I feel like if I was her, I would already had them motherfuckers filed. I would already filed my lawsuit. They're gonna give me times 10 what they did. Because not only did they, one, violate her privacy by allowing that leak to one, get out from their servers, and two, I mean, I don't care what Maria Taylor say. Somebody she knows leaked that shit, because it doesn't make no sense for it to just come out a couple days before the finals while she's in the contract negotiation. That's an art of war move she pulled. Okay, but don't be mad if somebody pulls it on you, because everybody is susceptible to a hot mic. And when people hear what you say when you ain't in front of a camera, look, it might come, that shit might come right back around. So you got to be careful with that. But if you don't believe what I'm saying, let's ask Adam Silver. Adam Silver, I think, sees this situation as I see it. And it doesn't have nothing to me, this situation is not a race thing. It's not a race thing. And I'm looking here at the chat before we go into the video. I see let's see here. Listen, Rachel basically was recorded talking about the agenda she was happy to go along with, but refused to let it affect her pay. Yeah. That's what's wrong with that. How is that? Is that racist? She is for diversity. But why does her livelihood have to be lessened for diversity to prevail? Diversity and inclusion means that everyone is in on this, everyone is at the table at the same time. That's inclusion. That's diversity. Mixed group of different people, diverse group of people all in at the same time. That includes white. That includes black. That includes Indian, Asian, Mediterranean, wherever. So I ask you, what about how she feels is any different than how you would feel if the roles were reversed? If the roles were reversed and it was you, and I mean, when I say you, you're the black Rachel Nichols and the white Maria Taylor, and they come to you and say, hey, why don't you, instead of hosting the NBA final, wild idea here, wild idea, but hear me out. Why don't you, who we've contracted to host the NBA finals, why don't you, instead of hosting this year, why don't you do the sideline reporting that Doris Burke was doing instead? And we'll let Maria Taylor, they didn't even go there. They didn't even tell her that Maria Taylor was going to be the host, but it was obvious that that's what the move was going to be. Why don't you, black Rachel Nichols, do the sideline reporter gig? And we're going to give the hosting duties this year to white Maria Taylor. Why don't you do that? What do you think about that? That's a good idea, right? Let's be real. You'd say it was racism. That would be the easiest and most damaging claim to make. It was racism. They're being racist. They're putting this white girl over me to host the NBA finals and making me do the sideline job. That's what the easy thing is to say. But in reality, the white girl's trying to get a new contract. You already got your contract, and they're trying to sweeten the deal to get her to sign. So they're trying to move you out the way, take your livelihood from you. Race be damned. They're trying to get my money. That's the one thing that can nullify racism, money. Because everywhere I go with money, they let me in. Everywhere I don't go with money, they don't let me in. It's that money tops all of that. Money tops all of that. So again, Jay Rish, I ask you, if the roles are reversed and you were in Rachel Nichols' shoes as a black person, what would you say about what happened to Rachel Nichols? I'll wait for your response in the chat whenever you're ready. We're about to watch this video though. Another person says here, restructuring a contract and taking less money is the stupidest thing for an athlete to ever do. Absolutely. I'm not giving y'all back the money y'all already gave me. I'm not giving y'all back the money. When y'all owe me money, you're going to pay me my money. So why would you give that up? Willingly. In the name of diversity. Diversity means you should be paying me and Maria Taylor. And we both should be on the hosting the finals. The first all-female, which in and of itself isn't diverse, but the first all-female hosts for the NBA finals. Why ain't nobody asking that question? You want her to give up her spot. That means it's fair now. Because okay, in the past, white folks were getting all the jobs. Well, it's 2021 now, motherfuckers. It's 2021. We can have a white and a black woman hosting the finals at the same time. At the same damn time. I mean, come on, man. This is bullshit. To me, that's garbage. And, and it's not even about defending Rachel Nichols. It's about being able to actually read a situation and understand what's really happening in the situation. Because look, these motherfuckers are going to be gone from ESPN at some point. Rachel Nichols going to be gone. Maria Taylor going to be gone. You think they're going to be there forever? No. Skip Bayless gone. Stephen A. Smith will be gone. There's plenty of people who will not, who will come in and follow them up and take their positions, and it'll all be rotating the same way. But these companies, they know how to play people now. They know how to play this shit so that they win every time. And because motherfuckers want to argue with each other and talk about something's racist all the time, or talk about how something is some type of grievance against them, they're not paying attention to the fact that these cats literally pulling your strings without you actually knowing, without you realizing it, without you actually being able to be aware and see that they're literally pitting you against your own people, and may the best man win. And in this situation, Rachel Nichols loses out because, yeah, she got caught on a hot mic speaking the truth, really being honest. And I don't expect, a lot of Twitter normies to really understand that, because they're going to sit there and they're going to just scream racism. But at the end of the day, somebody who's been in that ultra competitive environment, that ultra competitive culture, it's not race, it's money, it's livelihood, it's your future. That's what it's about. And you ain't going to let nobody, you're not going to let the company of all people put you in a position where you can't get your livelihood, where you can't make the money you're supposed to make, and you can't have your livelihood because they want to push somebody else to the front of the pack. Well, they're going to have to take it out. They're going to have to take it from you. They're going to have to they're going to have to get rid of you or something, but they're not going to you're not just going to sit there and take that. That would be stupid. That would be foolish. That would let them know they can do it anytime they want. And at a point, they're going to stop even asking. They're just going to do it. I mean, why? Well, think about this for a second. Why would they ask her not to host the finals? Why would they do that? They know at the beginning, before the basketball season even starts, they know who's going to host the finals because they got contracts with people. So why would they ask her? Why would you ask her to do the sideline reporting instead of the actual finals? If it was a talent thing, then all you got to say is, hey, we think Maria Taylor is more talented and more fit for this hosting job this year, and we think she's earned it. By saying that to Rachel Nichols, at the very least, you have taken away in her mind, she is now saying, okay, they think she's better than me. And you may not think, she may believe it or she may not believe that, but she at least has heard it from them that they think that she is better than Rachel Nichols. So there's actually a defined reason that they have to that you have to come to grips with as Rachel Nichols. But in this situation, they ask her if she would do this, which means there's an ulterior motive to why you're asking. There's a reason why you're asking me that. Now, if I step back and look at the bigger picture, ESPN has been made has mishandled and been made to look the fool when it comes to racial headlines and diversity, promoting diversity as a company. They've been made to look a fool from that for years. They got their foot in their mouth. They don't know what the hell they're doing half the time. Their ratings have fallen through the basement floor. People, shit. I didn't even know who Maria Taylor was until this story broke. I had no idea who she was. I may have seen her on ESPN, but I don't see her face and be like, that's Maria Taylor. But when I see Rachel Nichols, I know that's Rachel Nichols. When I see Stephen A. Smith, I know that's Stephen A. Smith. So it's like, she is not a household name, which is no knock on her. She'll get there. But for right now, as far as this situation is concerned, why? Why would ESPN even go there if they knew they had her contracted? That's where people are, that's kind of like a dark space that people continue to just completely look over and go straight to racism, which doesn't make any sense to me. I'm just thinking about this from point A to point B, and I'm not skipping no steps. A lot of people have been skipping steps. They're going from A to Q, and then from there to Z. They're not even paying attention to the fact that, nobody's even, I actually watched the video, Rebel HQ. What was that? Is that what it's called? Yeah, Rebel HQ had a video on YouTube covering this, and they played like 5 seconds of the recording. The only part they played was where Rachel Nichols said, hey, I'm all for, I wish her all the success in the world. And, I'm all for her doing her thing. But, if ESPN is going to try and use me because they got a shoddy diversity record, which she also knows about being a woman, I ain't going. They ain't going to take mine. They got to find that somewhere else. That's the only part they played of that entire conversation. The only part. They didn't talk about how it was in her contract. She said that. So motherfuckers are spinning this to make themselves look good, to make ESPN is just standing back and letting it all fall, all the chips fall, because now, hey, we got the black folks on our side. They think we're diverse. But no, the truth of the matter is they don't give a fuck either way. They just going with what the population is pushing for in their eyes. That's it. So that they can get their ratings back up. Because their ratings ain't shit. Because they rarely talk about, and I hate to go on these tangents, but they rarely talk about just sports. They always bring something about somebody's fucking racial struggle into their shows, which, hey, I can ignore it, and I don't think twice about it. But a lot of people get, they're not there for that. A lot of people ain't there for that. So they get annoyed when they have to hear, when it has to interrupt the flow of the program all the time. People get tired of that. ESPN, if you ain't noticed, your ratings are shit. There's a reason for that. You can actually find the reason. The greatest, I always felt, and this is something I truly believe, the greatest way to promote and show diversity is to do it without talking about it. It's to do it in a way that feels organic. Don't beat your chest. Don't point at the person who you're putting in. Just do it. Just do it. Like Nike say. Just do it and don't fucking brag. Don't, just do it. People are much more accepting of those types of things in promoting diversity when you do it in a way that is not, you're not boasting about, when you're not trying to make that, you're not trying to put that sticker on your forehead that says diverse. Just do it and make a good product and just do that. And people will be fine with it. That's it. But here we have Adam Silver. And before we get to that real quick, let me take another quick look at the chat. Jock Nerdy, what up? Jock Nerdy, my man. How you doing, man? Appreciate you being in here once again. Says I'm for $10. He says I'm late to the show, but I feel like ESPN leadership totally dropped the ball on this and could have fixed this. Oh yeah, they had a year to fix this, bro. They had a year to fix this. And they fucked it up even more, which is the unbelievable part. They made it worse over the course of a year than anything. They made it worse to the point where now they have, and ironic as this is, and I'm not, this is just my observation. Ironically, ESPN is now at the mercy of all of their black talent because their black talent just bands together now to force ESPN to do what they want. They band together and they say, we ain't doing shit unless you take this person out. And that's what they did to Rachel Nichols. Maria Taylor said she doesn't want to work with her at all. And when other black talent on ESPN decided we are with her, we ain't going to work neither unless you take Rachel Nichols off, ESPN took her off. They slid her in there and recorded segments, but now look, they done took her off completely now in 2021. So now that they've created, they literally are creating their own monster, because anytime anybody says anything that they feel is not fair, if they're not black and they say, hey, this ain't fair, their ass is grass. Because what's going to happen? That group of black talent is going to say, what she said was racist. We don't want to work with her. Get rid of her or we're not doing the show tonight. They got your ass again. Now you can't do nothing. So the corporation is manipulating, and they're digging themselves in a hole. They don't even realize that at the end of the day, they're going to hurt themselves even more. So it's a bad situation for them. It really is. It's a bad situation for ESPN. And I think if you listen to what Adam Silver has to say here, the commissioner of the NBA, I think I think he literally hits the nail on the head in regards to what is actually the problem here. And it's unfortunate that people have decided to label it as racism rather than label it as what it truly is. Corporate manipulation of Rachel Nichols for the benefit of Maria Taylor, for the benefit of ESPN's image, not for the benefit of anyone else in the grand scheme of things.
Hey, Adam, Kevin Draper from the New York Times. I was wondering what your reaction is to the news about ESPN's turmoil over the past year, given the relationship the NBA has with the network and the widespread reaction we've seen from current and former players to the comments from Rachel Nichols and Adam Mendelsohn.
It's disheartening. I'm really not in a position to speak too specifically about what goes on at ESPN because so much of my information came from your newspaper's reporting and others. So I'm not privy to much more beyond that. I will say, apropos of my earlier comments, I think it's particularly unfortunate that two women in the industry are pitted against each other.
Boom. First nail directly on the head. Let's listen to him say that part one more time. One more time, because it's important. The fucking company has pit two minorities against each other, and they fell for it hook, line, and sinker.
I think it's particularly unfortunate that two women in the industry are pitted against each other. I know that, both Rachel and Maria are terrific at what they do. They work extraordinarily hard. And it's as I said, I think just from the league standpoint, we recognize, well, ESPN's operations are independent of us. I feel we're all part of a family here in terms of what we do around our sport. And I hope, I think part of the problem is that, as I said earlier, when people can't get in a room and talk through these issues, this seemingly has fostered now for a full year. This is an incident that happened, I guess, when Rachel was in the bubble a year ago. And I would have thought that in the past year, maybe through some incredibly difficult conversations, that ESPN would have found a way to be able to work through it. Obviously not. I should also say, too, that these issues are not unique to ESPN. As I said, the league, is working on its own issues in terms of doing a better job with diversity. And it's not just in sports, but in companies around America. There's a reckoning going on, and I think part of it, and what we're seeing in ESPN, it's one thing to talk about the principles around diversity and inclusion. It's something else when it comes to somebody's specific job and how.
Boom! There's another nail on the head. It's one thing to talk about diversity from a principle standpoint. It's another thing to talk about diversity when it comes down to somebody's livelihood. Livelihood is held up by one factor: equity, liquid equity, money, liquidity, money. Money and diversity are separate. When you're talking about your livelihood, you're talking about your money. You're not talking about why someone else is being hired. She's not talking about why she's being hired. She's saying, don't use your front as the reason to take my money out of my pocket. Yes, she is a talented broadcaster. She does football. She does basketball. Y'all can put her on whatever y'all want. That's cool. But it's in my contract that I got this. So don't play me. That's what this really boils down to, is they're taking money out of her pocket. They did. They took money out of her pocket. She ain't even on the finals no more. So they took money out of her pocket. How is it racist to point out that y'all are fucking me over because y'all want to look like y'all are diverse? That's not racist. That's actually that's pretty intelligent to actually see through the smoke screen when they come and ask you if you'd rather do the sideline reporter job than be the host of the NBA Finals. Come on, man. Come on. That's crazy. Super chats. RC from NYC, what's up, brother? What's going on? RC from NYC for $10. What's up? Uche, what's up, chat? Just jumped in, but have tracked this story. I think ESPN's power in sports keeps waning every year, and they keep trying something new that only backfires every time. No, you're right, bro. And look, again, I'm black. I'm an African, but I'm black. People see me and they say black dude, but I'm Nigerian. But they see me and they say black dude. I get it. I get everything. I've lived that black life. I've been through that experience. I feel like, for me personally, I understand when something is racism towards me. I know I can diagnose that pretty quickly. But I also know when there's a difference between something that is something that's really business and something that's personal. And this situation was about business. Don't take my money to try and make yourself look good for your business. Don't do that. You're masquerading as a truly diverse corporation that promotes it in every way. But you're actually being counterproductive by taking from one minority, a woman, and giving to another for yourself, not necessarily for either one, but for yourself, for the company to look better. It would have been so easy to just say, hey, why don't we have both these women as our hosts for the NBA Finals? And if Marie, and you put that on the table. If Maria Taylor says no because she feels offended by what Rachel Nichols said, then let them discuss why Rachel said what she said. Let them talk about that first in the room. In the room. We all here now. So talk about it. Don't run from it. Because Maria, she didn't want to talk to Rachel Nichols. That's her prerogative. But hey, if somebody got a problem with you, don't you want to talk to them about it? Why are you going to run from them? Oh, so you can hold on to that for the week that the finals comes up and you got a new contract coming up and you negotiating and you just turned down $5 million a year. Shit, that's what I was making a year to fucking bust my ass on a football field. That's what I was getting for that. And they offering you $5 million to sit in a chair and talk. And you're gonna turn that down? You want what Stephen A. Smith getting? You ain't a household name. You can't get what Stephen A. Smith getting. They can't even market you like Stephen A. Smith gets marketed. They can't even do that. You literally, just by style, you're not even in that same category as Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith's money, the majority of why he's getting that money is because of his controversial and combative almost style of broadcasting. You don't do that. And when he does that, they get numbers. Now, Stephen A. is he be shucking and jiving like the best of them, but that's his style. To be loud and in your face and controversial, that's his style. You're not that. So why would they give you that money? Unless you put them in a position where they look like they're racist if they don't. So how do you do that? You put out a leak to get Nichols out the way, and now that you're the only one at the table, you tell them this is what I want, or they're holding black women back. I can see that from a mile away. A mile away. That shit's crazy to me, man. And I don't even I don't even really want to be going like in all honesty, in my heart, I don't want to talk down on my people, on black folks, because I am black, even though I'm Nigerian, I'm black. But I'm not going to just come on, I'm not going to let what I perceive to be truly some shady bullshit. I'm not going to let the fact that you black transcend and pass up the fact that what's happening is bullshit. That don't mean nothing to me. That don't mean nothing to me. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that because in the world that I came up in, racism really ain't even exist in the locker room. So you were held to a code of honor, a code of respect, a code of dignity based on your production, based on how you lead, how you actually are able to be coached, how you're able to absorb instruction. Like, these are things that don't factor in what your skin color is, what your background is. It's all about what you doing right here, right now to help us. How are we helping each other? You have a role. You play a role. Like, to me, it's crazy. It's crazy, but that's how it's the business world is cutthroat. So, hey, however you get to the top, you get to the top, right? Let's hear what the rest. Let's hear the rest of what Adam Silver has to say here.
How that's handled, and what I've learned from dealing with these issues of the NBA is that they are incredibly complex. There's no magic bullets here, and they require a very labor-intensive effort of getting people in the room and working through these issues by talking a lot about them and then talking even more about them and creating a climate where people are comfortable, saying what's on their mind, where people are given the benefit of the doubt, especially long-term employees that are in good standing.
I think that's another great point. And again, and it's crazy to me. Like, and I never truly believed it until I started seeing it once I retired. Football really does prepare you in a lot of ways for dealing with, for being in environments where you have to cooperate with people in different ways, where you have to, not necessarily like you're on a team, but you're in an atmosphere or you're in an environment where where there is somewhat of a connected element with your colleagues, with your coworkers. You got to be able to work together in certain respects and have certain level of respect for each other to be able to progress in the company itself. And football does the way that the principles are set in football really can allow athletes in team settings, not just football, but in team settings. That team pyramid really prepares you to be able to thrive in any environment where you have to work with other people, because almost instantly there is a level of cooperation that you already understand that a lot of people don't really understand, because a lot of people are selfish. A lot of people do think just about themselves when it comes to, their bottom line, and I ain't mad at that, because you take care of you first, but you got to be considerate of others at the same time. And like he said here, when you have a situation where there are people who are vetted, who've been there for a long time, who are veterans in that role that they've had, a rookie's not coming in there. A second-year player is not coming in there. A third-year player is not coming in there and is not going to disrespect a 7, 8, 9, 10-year veteran. They won't do that. They won't do that. And generally, the coaches or the people who are above the players themselves, the coaches, they also respect those principles. That the vet, you got to talk to the veteran first. If there's going to be a change that is going to involve this veteran's ability to be out there and be a productive member of the team, then you got to talk to that vet first before you make that move. And if you're going to make that move, then you need to make that move in a way that is respectful to the person who was there. And in this, and it relates to this, in my opinion, mainly because with Rachel Nichols being a household name She is a household name. I don't care what any other part of this argument is. There is no, I don't think, I won't say for 100% fact, because I know there are people out there who will say, well, Maria Taylor is a household name. I don't believe she's a household name. I don't believe that for 1 second. But I will give you the benefit of the doubt, and I will say she is well known in the NBA sports media world. I'll give you that. Rachel Nichols has a vast portfolio of big-time interviews, big-time positions that have built up from, you know, she didn't start at the top, but over the years, I mean, hell, the last like 10, 15 years, man, Rachel Nichols she's been slowly becoming like the Barbara Walters for basketball, like for sports, really, as a female journalist, as a female reporter. She has kind of become that, like the kind of Barbara Walters. So what, you think, I mean, Oprah Winfrey, as a young TV show talk host, would never assume that she has more pull than Barbara Walters. And if anything, with Oprah Winfrey becoming who she was, that put them on level footing. That actually drew them closer together to be more allies than anything. But they were never pitted against each other. I think you can't allow yourself to be pitted against one another when you're both working towards the same goal, and y'all both really is coming up in the same, y'all really coming up in the same, with the same problem. Y'all women. That's the problem that y'all both share. Like, and that is something you're supposed to connect over rather than, distance because of. And, again, I got a lot of love and respect for any woman who comes out and does her thing in the business world. Because, I mean, I know for my businesses, my managers were all females. They got the job done well. I ended up having more faith in women running my businesses than men. I mean, that's just me personally. But, the fact of the matter is, when you in this corporate game, you playing in a man's game. You're a woman in a man's game. So it takes more for you to get their attention from a business standpoint. That's the only standpoint that matters. It takes way more for you to get that attention. It takes way more for you to cut through that barrier. And it ain't fair. I'll agree. It's not fair, but that's the way it is. So knowing how the game is played, why would you allow yourself to minimize your numbers by claiming that this person is racist because they don't want what they've worked for to be taken for anybody, especially if it's contracted to be theirs. So if it's contracted to be hers, she is actually entitled to it. ESPN could have easily navigated this situation by uplifting both of these women at the same time, uplifting them both. And I don't think anybody would have been mad at that. I don't think anybody would have had any issues with that. I think that would have been something that would have actually played as a company that is truly trying to actually live up to being a diverse corporation. That would have been the route I would have taken. I would have said, shit, put them both out there. Shit, make the whole damn team is going to be women. It's going to be girl power on the NBA Finals. That kind of thing, there'll be people who don't like that as well, but I would have preferred that in their situation with those two, you have both of them up there as hosts with, the likes of former NBA players as well. And you now look far better than, this whole shit that this is blown up into. And now they just look absolutely incompetent as a corporation. Incompetent to the level of utter disgrace, in my opinion. Completely incompetent.
When they do make comments that people recognize that people make mistakes, that careers shouldn't be erased, by a single comment, that we should be judging people.
Adam Silver, it sounds to me like he's talking about cancel culture, because that's what they just did to Rachel Nichols to a certain extent. They just did that to her. They made something racist and then they canceled her. And ESPN actually helped because they was like, yeah, we going to take her off of NBA Finals altogether. She can still have her show, but that's just so we don't get sued. But we're going to take her off. But y'all still going to get sued.
By the larger context of their body of work and who they are and what we know about them. So, you know, I mean, I have confidence in the leadership of ESPN and of course, and in my Disney colleagues. And so they will work through this, but I'm sure this is a very difficult time for them. And it's really unfortunate what we're seeing in sports. I'd say one of the differences from sports from most other businesses, including usually the media, is that it doesn't play out so publicly. You know, we all familiar with issues that have happened in workplaces, but they're handled by human resources department, and people are quietly brought into rooms and they work through them, and people, you know, and
that's how it used to get handled. It used to get handled in-house, and it wasn't being handled in-house like, hey, you shut up. You shut up. No. It was handled in-house like, hey, you motherfuckers got a problem. Well, now's the time to figure it out. Y'all sit in this room. We're going to sit here with you. We're going to go through it, and we're going to figure it out. And when we get out this room, it's going to be either we've squashed it or y'all going to go y'all separate ways. Y'all not going to touch. Y'all not going to talk to each other. Y'all not going to deal with each other, but you will respect the environment you're in, and you will work as teammates, even if you don't like them. I didn't like everybody on my team, but I respected what my job was and what it meant to be to take care of my job for their sake as well as mine. They don't do that no more. Now, somebody feels slighted. Somebody feels like there's an issue. It's not about, let me talk to this person. It's about, I'm going to go tell Twitter. I'm going to go tell Twitter. I'm going to go tell Facebook. I'm going to go tell. So that I can get public opinion on my side immediately. And we can get your ass the hell on.
People are, you know, can talk these things through. It's when things are playing out in the media and then on social media, it's incredibly difficult for everyone involved. And, you know, again, I hope that the folks at ESPN are able to continue to work through these. We appreciate our partnership with them and the coverage, you know, again, from both Rachel and Maria. I mean, they're incredibly devoted to the NBA. They're both fantastic at what they do. And this is just a really unfortunate situation, especially coming at this moment in time when we'd like all the folks to be on the players on the floor. Thank you.
Okay, so there you have that. And again, Adam Silver actually gets it, which I'm actually I'm impressed with that, because I have not I will be honest and say that I have not generally kept up with the NBA, and I have not generally kept up with a lot of things that Adam Silver says, but I have caught a couple of his reactions to different topics, different situations, and he always has a very nuanced response. He always has a very in-depth yet logical response. It's not a word salad. He isn't just spitting out phrases and talking about things that really aren't going anywhere. He does actually provide a little perspective, and I think he absolutely provides a very sound perspective in this regard, because, he sees it like I see it, which I feel like is a logical, completely, fair way to look at it. I don't think that Rachel Nichols was talking about Maria Taylor in any fashion that would, I don't think that it was her talking about Maria Taylor. I think it was her talking about ESPN using Maria Taylor, but also trying to take from her, which is completely counterproductive to a cohesive, having a cohesive staff, first and foremost, but also it makes it very hard for one individual to not feel like they're being singled out. And on both ends, I feel like Maria Taylor felt like she was singled out. I don't see it that way, but I understand that she would feel like she was being singled out. And Rachel Nichols also, as well, felt like she was being singled out. They didn't go to anyone else about the NBA Finals except for Rachel Nichols. They asked her. They didn't even make the, statement that they would rather have. They said, "Why don't you?" They asked her. They did it in that slick way where you immediately when you're being asked. I remember one time and this was let me see, what year was this? This was this was going into my third season in the NFL. Yeah, this was going into my third season. And our right tackle, Tony Pashos, my guy, Big Tone, Tony Pashos, he was given a pretty good contract to come to Jacksonville from Baltimore. He comes to Jacksonville, and he's actually playing well. But for some reason, and I never knew why, I never really asked, but I never knew why. And I think it was because we actually drafted Eben Britton and Eugene Monroe that year. So it was going into my fourth year that we drafted Eben, we drafted Eugene, and Tony was our right tackle. Tony's only ever been right tackle. So our general manager asked Tony, they literally called Tony into the general manager's office halfway through a practice day, like halfway through a training camp day, I believe it was. And Gene Smith, who even the mention of this guy's name makes my stomach turn. I start to feel like I want to vomit. Gene Smith actually asked Tony Pashos, 1, to take a pay cut, and 2, to move to guard. He tried to affect his livelihood and put him in a position to fail by putting him in a position that he doesn't play. Tony said, "Fuck no." He said, "I will not." And the general manager said, "Well, if you're not going to take a pay cut, we're going to release you. If you don't take a pay cut and move to guard, we're going to release you." Tony said, "Release my ass, because I'm not giving back a dime. You either going to take it, and when Tony came in and told us this, this dude was so completely resolved in his mind. And he explained it to us. I remember he looked me in the eyes and he said, "You don't ever let these motherfuckers take what you earned, because they don't give a shit about you when they have the power to make the decisions." And I see that, and that's part of where the base of my principles, the principles that I have around these kind of things with business, that's where it comes from. That's where it comes from, because if you let them do that and you don't put up a fight, then why are you even there? Why are you even fighting for? Why are you even trying? Like, you're just gonna give it up when they come to take it from you? No, you're gonna have to make me give it up. You're gonna have to rip it out my hands, because I ain't giving it. And I think that that's a relatable scenario to what you're seeing here. Okay, let's look at the chat. See what you guys are talking about. Okay, like you said before the season, Network already has the cast set for who's hosting the NBA Finals Super Bowl / Super Bowl. They needed the smallest excuse to take that opportunity away from her. Yeah, I agree. I think that there was a opportunity, and again, that's why I look at ESPN and I say they're the bad guys in this. I think that there's an opportunity that ESPN saw that could help their image, and they let it sit for a year before they actually allowed it out the gate. It's so weird that this comes out a year later. And I know that there have been chirpings about it. At least that's what was said. That's what I've heard, is that there were chirpings about this last year, but it never, Deadspin was sitting on it. All these people are sitting on this story, waiting for the right time to set it out. Isn't that a setup? Isn't that just a setup, though? If it's really something that you truly believe is hurtful and something that is truly against you, then you would have dropped that bomb right then, right there, right now. You would have done that. Maria Taylor would have made it known to the public that in 2020 that this is what is going on at ESPN, and I don't appreciate it. Since she feels like she's, that she's being called a diversity hire. Why didn't you do it then? Why wait until your contract time is why wait until you're about to you trying to negotiate for a contract? Why wait that long? Why wait a year? That's a strategy. That's not a bombshell. That's a strategy. That's you planning on how you're going to take her spot. You setting it up and you using race as the setup for a year. That is a strategy. So, a lot of things about this story I feel like are being put out and spun, but also I feel like there's a lot of nefarious. I feel like there is a nefarious part to this on ESPN side. I'm most certain on ESPN side, Maria Taylor. That's my theory. My theory is she knew about this. She knew who had the who could get it out there, and she told that person, sit on it. I'm gonna wait until I'm ready to get my money, and then I'm gonna drop this for leverage. That's my theory. I don't know if it's true, but it makes goddamn sense. Shoot, what? Let's see here. 2009. Okay, yeah. Pashos, he signed with Jacksonville, first day of free agency. Yep, 31. He was at right tackle. Oh man, Pashos is my guy. Shout out Tony. I know we talk on a group chat still to this day, me and him and a couple other guys, but Pashos was one of them old school linemen. Boy, woo! He was not dirty player, but he was one of those dirty old linemen. This cat is straight old school. He had the Thurman Thomas face mask. You know what I mean? Gloves. His gloves had 2 pounds of tape on each one. Bad body, but somehow it looked like he had a 6-pack, even though he was bad body as hell. Yeah, Tony was that dude. It says here September 5th. Yeah, training camp. Right at the end of training camp. Pashos was cut by Jaguars to make room for Eben Britton. Yeah, that was some bullshit. I mean, I love Eben. Don't get it twisted. Eben is family. That's my brother. But they didn't need to cut Tony to keep Eben. Shit, they drafted him. Shit, of course they was going to keep him. They just wanted Tony to take less money and change positions, and he wasn't finna do that. Okay, so another element of this story that, again, for me, I don't understand it. It seems like a setup for me when I look at this. Give me a second here, and I will pull it up. But let's see. me pull this up real quick. Bum, 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 bum. If I can find this, this would be let me see if I can find this. There's an actual video that Maria Taylor put out on TikTok. If I can find it, that'd be good. I saw it just like freaking. Give me a second here. Guys. Bear with me. Bear with me while I grab this. Real quick. Let's see. Okay. Okay, so Jalen Rose's daughter and Maria Taylor. I want to, go through their actual like responses. Now, I can't seem to find this this video from Maria Taylor, but okay, here we go. Okay, here it is. Okay, so all right, let's check this. Let's check this out. So this is the video of Maria Taylor. Now, I don't think this isn't necessary. This isn't looked at as a direct response to the situation with Rachel Nichols, but it's a subliminal clapback. So we're gonna take a look at it, and I'm gonna let you guys. We'll talk about it, and then I want to hear what you guys think, because I have not watched the entire. I have not watched this entire video. I've only watched a few seconds of it. I tend to and this is just me for everybody out there, so you know a little bit about me. I tend to when people provide these what do you call it? Like self-help, like self-motivation, motivational clips on social media. To me, those are the most cringiest fucking things on earth. I absolutely hate watching people try to give advice to the world, or try to put themselves on a pedestal where it's almost as if they're saying, I have the answers here. This is what you need to know. That shit to me, no. And, I hate it because, to me personally, a person who truly is confident about themselves, a person who is confident in their own skin, who does not feel the need to validate themselves, or does not feel the need or the want to be validated by others, generally, you don't have to get a megaphone and give people advice on how to be confident. To me, that is self-righteous and slightly arrogant to me, because everybody's own measure of being confident and being successful and finding their own path. Everybody is different. So nobody is going to, there's no one solution that will help anybody, become confident, become, a positive, uplifting individual for others. Like that's not where I really, I don't think that's necessary to get a megaphone to do that. Like to go online and to like put that out there for people. Now, some people like that. Some people do like it. But me personally, I think it's cringe. I think it's super cringe because you ain't in my life. You're not living my life. Like, how do you have that? How do you feel like that's appropriate? I never really understood that. But this is Maria Taylor, and this is her subliminal clapback, I would say, at Rachel Nichols. And it's not just this. There's something else after this that we'll look at as well. So let's take a look at this. Let me make sure I get it at the very beginning. Okay. And this is a video from Let's Talk Trending Hot Topics by N. Lynch. Just shout out to him. This is his video.
I just wanted you to know that you're pretty dope. Like, I don't care what society tells you. They might tell you that your skin's not pretty enough, that there's not enough shades to match your makeup, that although all women make 82 cents to the dollar on white men, you make 62 cents. They may tell you that you don't deserve that promotion, even though you know you do. They may tell you that when you get the promotion that you only got it because you were black. But we know that's not true. I just want you to know that I believe in you. So resist the urge to fall in line and don't be humble, girl, brag, because you are so fine. You're the only one that can.
That to me is like, that's arrogance. That's not confidence. That's arrogance. Don't be humble, go brag. That's a flex. But why? Because look, not only are you as a celebrity, quote unquote, because I guess now she is a celebrity. I mean, she's plastered everywhere now. But to me, what she's saying is basically be completely ignorant of the reality of what your situation is, regardless of the variables that may play into it. Don't accept reality. Create your own image of your greatness, even if it's not in sync with what the reality of your situation is. And she's saying, well, she's directly pointing that people are going to say that you're black, so it's this, or people are going to say that your skin color is too brown, so it's that. Well, in your situation, you used that to actually gain an advantage over someone. So you kind of perverted it. You kind of corrupted that entire notion that, you shouldn't be, that you shouldn't toe the company line, that you shouldn't fall in line. But you fell in line and used what people have begun to abuse in saying that everything is about race. Motherfucker said that food was racist the other day. What? Motherfucker said that food was racist the other day. That food is racist. That where was the other one I heard that was freaking super ridiculous? Oh my gosh, I can't remember. I don't remember. But again, I'm coming back to this. This entire statement she's giving to me is a show of her arrogance. Why do I say it's arrogance? I say it's arrogance because of multiple things. One, you are telling people not to be humble. But humility is the only thing that balances your inflated perception of yourself and what is actually reality. That is what humility provides for each and every one of us. Humility takes away our inflated perception of who we really are. So don't be humble, go brag. That's a completely toxic approach to take to someone's own, someone realizing their own worth and respecting just respecting the the environment that has allowed them to get to where they are. Like, how many times have you seen people who predict the outcome of a game and say that they're going to do this, they're going to do that, they're going to do this, they're going to do that? A lot of times, those people humiliate themselves at the end of the day. The outcome, what they end up doing, does not match the inflated perception of what they thought they could do. So now they have been humbled. Humility has come in and shown them that you are not who you think you are. Even when you're at your heights, humility says, yes, you are in a good spot right now, but don't think that it can't change, because it can. And it can change quickly. It can change in an instant. Now, on the other side of that, Rachel Nichols, maybe there was a little arrogance in the way that she perceived things. In her position at ESPN. Maybe there was a little arrogance there where she felt, hey, I'm Rachel Nichols. How are y'all going to do this to me and take my job away from me that when it's in my contract so that y'all can make yourselves look good and say you're diverse by bringing Maria Taylor, who is a good reporter, and giving her my position? Why is it that there is only one seat at the table? That's what Rachel Nichols said. And in a way, that's in defense of Maria Taylor. Why is there one seat at the table? They act as if they can't have two seats for two women at the table, which is directly opposed to what diversity truly is about. So to me, again, it always boils back to when people think, and the reason why people do videos like this is because, in my opinion, they're arrogant. They think that they have come across some kind of revelation, some kind of new enlightenment that they have to share it to the world because the world isn't aware of this yet. The world is aware of it. So let's hear it one more time. Well, because I want to hear it in its completion, because I had to stop it there because I honestly, I physically started to sweat. Like, this is like cringe to me. Like, I don't like this because it's not genuine. She's in a position and the timing is perfect for her to maximize her brand, her exposure, her appeal by, trying to seem great. And I'm not going to say she doesn't have grace, because she is a well-known, well-respected broadcaster. And as far as I have seen, I won't say that she has not been, at the very least, professional. But this, to me, is arrogance. This in specific is arrogance. So one more time, let's go through it.
I just wanted you to know that you're pretty dope. Like, I don't care what society tells you. They might tell you that your skin's not pretty enough, that there's not enough shades to match your makeup, that although all women make 82 cents to the dollar on white men, you make 62 cents. They may tell you that you don't deserve that promotion, even though you know you do. They may tell you that when you get the promotion that you only got it because you were black. But we know that's not true. I just want you to know that I believe in you. So resist the urge to fall in line and don't be humble, girl, brag. because you are so fine. You're the only one that can do what you do on a daily basis and never say boo-hoo to anyone because you are the one, the black woman that's stronger than everyone.
Yeah, I think that's pretty arrogant. That's pretty arrogant. But what she don't that and you know, hey, go off. Go off. Go off. If you're gonna go off, go off. But let me tell you something. Every day, every single day, you get a little bit older. You are in the sun right now, shining bright. But that clock ticked the moment you set foot in it. That clock started ticking. So the countdown has already begun to who's going to replace you and how you're going to hold on to your position. That's how these corporations work. She is literally just the person they put in there. She's the hot ticket, which that's changes every few years, every so often. She's the hot ticket right now for them. She's the hot ticket, and she's not showing much humility about it. I just say, I caution that doing that, you're putting yourself in a position where it'll feel like it was yesterday, but all of a sudden it's going to be 7 years from now, and there's going to be a younger, finer, maybe darker, maybe brighter individual who's going to take your spot. So, you have to be, you have to know. And I mean, Rachel Nichols, she that time came for her. That time came for her. It did. But she fought, but she didn't fall in line. Like you so eloquently put it, Maria Taylor. She didn't fall in line. She said, fuck that. Y'all got a terrible record in looking like a company that actually gives a damn about having a diverse cast of talent and treating that diverse talent with respect. Don't try and play me and push me out the door so that y'all can try and get some points back on that. That's not saying that Maria is a diversity hire. That's saying that they are also using Maria to improve their image in regards to diversity. Nobody doubts her talent. There's no way to say that she's not talented. Like, I've seen a little bit of her in her work since this entire story has broke. But truth be told, I ain't know who the fuck she was. I swear I probably have seen her. I swear I think I have seen her. I just didn't know who it was. And I mean, ESPN has shifted so many people around on their roster, and so many of them are gone. The people who had always been household names, like EVS. I mean, what's his name? EVP, Ethan Van Pelt, something like that. I forget. With the glasses, the ESPN commercials. That's what made them household names, was those ESPN commercials, them office commercials. And you had multiple different diverse groups of people then, and they never said a word about it. They just had them. You had Stuart Scott. You had Stephen A. You had, all these different cats. And they just Scott Van Pelt. Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Silver Zero. Scott Van Pelt. You had all these different cats who really, they were all different ethnicities of people. You just look at some and say, hey, they black, they white, but not all. They weren't all. It wasn't just that. They were all around, and they had all these awesome commercials with the mascots, with the players who be working at ESPN for a day, all those different kinds of stuff. They did it good. They used to actually that was present without them ever saying it. It was there, but right now, because of, social media is partially to blame for this, in my opinion. Because now you got social media, which is where everybody runs to, you know, stake their claim about anything, right? So all this stuff hits the fan, exposes how truly bad and incompetent ESPN is. And, you know, public opinion, they label Rachel Nichols as a racist. Like, come on, that's not even like, that don't even make sense. Doesn't even make sense. But this video, this TikTok from her, I mean, it's just, to me, it's an arrogant TikTok. It wasn't necessary. And, you know, it doesn't really, in my opinion, I don't think better of you now because you said that. You know, again, a lot of times, nothing needs to be said when you know you're right. You don't got to say nothing. If you know you're right, you don't got to say nothing. Gangsters move in silence. Bosses don't speak, they act. Like, leaders lead. They don't talk about leading, they lead. So for me, when I hear people, that is, and I think that's really, I think I had a little self-discovery there. I think that is where the heart of my distaste for these kind of videos comes from, is because I don't need you to talk. I need you to just do what you do. I don't like when people talk all the time about empowerment. Like, I feel like empowerment is something that you build on your own. You build that within yourself, and through empowering yourself mentally, you then can go out with the confidence to handle yourself in the real world. But when you got to tell people that, and you got to, like, I mean, that's a total flex that she did there, which I thought, I mean, it was just, you know, whatever, but it's just, that's not leadership to me. That's just, you know, that's bragging. So brag on. Brag on. Okay, so next video here. Shout out Self-Talk. Self-Talk has done a lot of videos on a lot of these type of subject matters. Some I agree with, some I don't. But I do appreciate the fact that Self-Talk, you know, does the videos. And Self-Talk is connected with this. I think the person who does Self-Talk is connected with Kwame Brown too. Which, man, I'd love to get Kwame on the podcast so we can talk about this, because I agree with Kwame on some things, but on other things I don't agree with him. And I've been watching his live streams pretty regularly. And he is Kwame Brown is really, honestly, to me, he is a very important voice to have in the sports media, like, world, especially from a content creator standpoint, because Kwame Brown, he is shown to be pretty authentic in how he thinks. And again, I don't agree with everything he says, and I don't agree with all of his principles, I guess. But it's not because, you know, it's not, and it doesn't really, it's just to each his own in that regard. It's not, you know, that I fall on one side or the other. I just look at things a different way. But man, anybody who knows Kwame Brown, because I done sent the cat multiple Cash Apps with messages. I done sent him multiple Cash Apps. I done sent him a message on Instagram. I done sent him a message on from his email, I think. I'm not sure. Maybe I haven't, but I'm pretty sure I have. And, you know, I've tried to reach out in any way that I could. Even on the live streams, I've sent him messages on the live streams. If you know Kwame Brown, or you know anybody who can get in contact with him, man, send him my way. At least let him know I'm trying to reach out. I'd love to have a conversation with that cat. I think we could have a pretty damn good debate. I don't care if it's on my channel or his channel. If he wants to do it on his channel, I'll go on his channel. If he wants to do it on my channel, do it on my channel. You know, just to have the conversation. Because I mean, I really do like him. I really do like that he has been given this he's seeing a new life, like a new revigoration of his presence, his exposure in the public, and he's really doing a lot to use it in the right way. And that to me is the biggest part of why I would really I'd really like to talk to him because of that, because he's doing a lot in his community. I know he's from Brunswick, Georgia. I think he's living out here near Atlanta. I'm out here in Atlanta. You know, let's link up, man. Let's link up. Let's chop it up. Let's have a debate. Let's talk. Let's have a discussion. Let's go through these things. I think we could have a great one. We got a $5 super chat here from Jason Gaines. Is at the Greg so unaware that the Pats played in a very weak division from 2001 to 2019? The only two division rival threats were the 2009 and 2010 New York Jets. Appreciate that $5, Jason Gaines, and you're damn right. You're damn right. The Patriots played in the most pussified division with consistently one of the easiest schedules in the NFL year in and year out. The Jaguars, on the other hand, well, after we made the playoffs in 2007, the next year we had like the fourth hardest schedule in the NFL, and our division was crowned as the hardest division to win in the NFL for like 2 years in a row after that. We had multiple years where we had two teams out of our division in the playoffs. One being the Colts and then us, and then one being the Colts and then the Titans. So, yeah, fuck the Patriots. Anyways, let's get into this video. This is Jalen Rose's daughter. She has something to say about Rachel Nichols' apology to Maria Taylor. I'm interested to hear this because it's always good when a former athlete's child decides to weigh in on the politics of corporate culture, and almost instantly, generally, we'll see with this one, but almost instantly, they make fucking fools of themselves. So let's see what this one is. Let's see what she does here. It's 2 minutes and 18 seconds. I'm going to let it run through unless there's something that I just have to say something about.
Miss Rachel Nichols. Maria Taylor knows what a generational talent she is in the broadcasting world, so I don't even got to go there and hype her up. Let's talk about the fact that she actually played basketball. And if you want to go there, let's go there. Let's talk about how you're related to Diane Sawyer.
So the fuck what? Look, this is the shit that kills me. This is the shit that kills me. Let's talk about the fact that you're related to Diane Sawyer. So the fuck what? Can she help that she's related to Diane Sawyer? Do you think Diane Sawyer can go tell ESPN what to do with Rachel Nichols? This is when these little kids start talking. They just start saying shit that's, okay, Captain Obvious. Yeah, we know that Rachel Nichols is related to Diane Sawyer. So what? Two different people, two different careers. One is Diane Sawyer is on the other side of the interview game. She deals with mainly the politics, mainly politics. Like world events, politics. You don't deal with sports. Fuck out of here. That's so stupid. Golly, man. Why you let your kid come out here and start talking stupid?
How you're related to Diane Sawyer. Arguably the queen of ABC. Nah. You got your job as one of the faces of ESPN because you're so entertaining and talented and so good at it, right?
What is this? Oh, what is this? I don't understand here. Last part of the sentence may never sit quite right. With Bulls fans, D Rose went off on Wednesday. Jimmy Butler sitting out. Rose went off for 50. That's right. 2018 Derrick Rose is 30, and he just scored 50 in an NBA game. NBA Rose has never scored 50 in a game before. Okay.
There is also the absolute fact that 2 years ago, Rose was accused of participating in a gang rape.
You are a woman in the sports world, and you sat there and you laughed about the Me Too movement.
So? If you have to go to fucking work every day and talk about one topic every day, at what point do you get tired of talking about it, whether you fully support it or not? I fully supported the way that people peacefully protested in 2020. I feel like it was, as long as, for those who did peacefully, you have my support. I believe that when you have that grievance, as long as you protest and you bring that grievance in a peaceful manner, then I do not have a problem with it. And in that regard, even I supported it because I believed in what the mission statement was for the protests: police brutality and just an equal opportunity for those who are minorities to be able to sit at the same table, metaphorically speaking, as everybody else. In reality, there was a negative side to that because a very small portion of the grander picture was sullied by people who looted, people who destroyed property, and also people who really, claim to be allies of the movement, but only came to provoke and incite, aggression towards police, which police were already being aggressive, but it doesn't help when you have people just butting heads. So there is elements of that move of the BLM protest movement. And I say BLM in the loosest terms. I say BLM in the intent of in the movement itself, not the political organization of it. I'm speaking of the movement. The movement of Black Lives Matter was in its original intent and a noble thing to do. There are elements of it that were corrupted. There are elements of it that were sullied by people who decided they wanted to take that up and use it in their own ways. There were people on the other side of it who, propagandized it to make it seem different than it actually was. These are all things that corporations and people who sit in big meeting rooms come up with and try to execute in ways to try and sway public opinion. Those are all variables. The actual movement itself, in its intent, I agree with. But if you are someone who has a job and you have to come to a job and you have to talk about things on a daily basis that are adverse to the actual job that you've been actually contracted to do, you can get tired of it. You're human. You can get tired of it like that. I don't blame somebody for being tired of having to a certain extent, play along and get along, or their ass is going to be fired. The go along, get along gang. That's what Kwame Brown calls it. The go along, get along. To me, I don't blame people for feeling that they've been exhausted by stuff. Shit, people were exhausted with fucking COVID lockdowns after fucking 2 months. People were tired of it. They couldn't take it no more. You know what I mean? Like, I ain't mad at them for feeling tired of it. Because hey, everybody has a different point where they just kind of feel like, you know what? I don't really want to talk about this today. Like, I'm not mad at people for that. Not mad at people for that. Whoa, what's going on with my audio here? What's up? Hold on. You guys can hear me, right? Y'all good? Am I good? You guys can hear me, right? Am I in sync or am I out of sync? What's going on? Just want to make sure. Let's see here. Man, first day trying out a new little setup and the shit just go crazy. All right. Are we good now? Can you guys hear well? Anyways. Okay, so with all that being said, I know I was a little long-winded there, but I feel like I need to explain fully for people to understand where I'm coming from. And man, let me see. I'm hearing I'm out of sync here. Let me see what I can do. Whoops. Hold on. Couple things I can do here. Okay, hopefully. Hold up. Okay, I'm just checking some of my settings here. Hopefully we are good again. Okay. All right, so take a quick look at the chat. Truezilla, Ubeyo Studio Live. Okay, what's up? What's my point? Dude, why are you defending Rachel and attacking people who disagree with her? Why am I defending Rachel? Well, I mean, if you want to say it's defending Rachel, fine, but I feel like in the business world, because I've been in those ultra competitive settings, and the principles that the employee plays by are different than the principles that the employer plays by. The employees at ESPN are obviously going to be working to raise themselves within the business. Nobody is lazy. Nobody's like not working hard. But when you talk about a company like ESPN, which has seen a stark falling off of their ratings have dropped severely. Their viewership has not been anywhere near what it was even 5 years ago. They have been trying to catch on to the waves through social media, the trends. They've been trying to catch those trends. They have completely immersed themselves in a lot of political things that, at the end of the day, when you blend politics with sports, there's a very slippery slope inherently, because at the outset of it, you are beginning to go into things that generally your sports fans don't really want to talk or want to hear you talk about. Now, look, I get it, and I'm not against bringing, as athletes, having that, and former athletes who are now broadcasters, having that ability to bring those things to the forefront and to shed light on them is one thing. But I mean, to almost weaponize it so that you can now force your will on people is something totally different. I think anybody who's being real with themselves knows, because if you're being real about this, it's because you've probably been in the situation, is that when somebody tries to affect your livelihood and go directly against what they have promised you, and they're doing it for reasons that are not genuine, and they're not genuine because the track record tells you it's not genuine, and you call them on that is not you being racist. That is you telling the truth about what these motherfuckers are really about. And it's not a knock on the person that they're trying to uplift. They're trying to uplift Maria Taylor for their image on diversity. And of course, if you go against that, then they'll say, then she's being accused of saying that she's a diversity hire, and the only reason she's being hired is because she's black, which is obviously not true. Everyone knows that the woman has been with the network for 7 years. The woman has been on damn near every broadcast show for all the major sports that they have. She's got a resume. She's got a portfolio of work that she's done. That is beyond dispute. So to assume that Rachel Nichols, in saying that ESPN is trying to catch up because they look bad all the time about when it comes to diversity, is not being racist. That is speaking on experience. One, because she's a woman, which is a minority. She's a minority in her own business. So it's a minority and a minority. But now we're in this age of, if you go against that, if you go against a black person being promoted, you're racist. When no, it's with Rachel Nichols, in her case, it is when you promise me and contractually guarantee me something and then ask me to give it up, I'm not going to do it. And she knows, she's been at the company long enough to know why they're doing it. These are the things that she knows that we don't, because she's there. Just like a player can tell you about a coach, tell you things about a coach that you would have never known, that you would have never even guessed in your life that this coach was like this, or this coach was like that, or this owner was like this, or this owner was like that. You would never know because you ain't there. I was there. I can tell you how he was. And I can tell you why they did things that you saw on TV and you thought it was one way, but I knew it was different. I knew it was different because I was there. Rachel Nichols, she ain't got nothing against Maria Taylor. She just knows what ESPN is trying to do, and she wasn't having it. But those of you who don't know, because you ain't never been there, will say it's racism. And now, who's getting canceled because of that? Who wins in that? Come on, man. Use your brain. Don't just follow what everybody tells you, and don't just jump in. Don't join into the crowd and just be a part of something because everybody's a part of it. Use your brain and think about why. Why would she do that? What sense does it make for her to disparage Maria Taylor when it's not Maria Taylor who's affecting her? It's ESPN who's doing it. Come on, man. Like, that's just use your brain. That's all I'm saying. So yeah, I'm defending somebody who's getting fucked because that's what's happening. It don't matter who she's related to. It don't matter who she grew up with. It matters that she had a contract. It matters that the contract said you host the finals. ESPN came and asked her not to host the finals. They didn't even ask her not to host. They asked her to take a sideline job, which if you are contracted to be the host, I would say that going into the sideline job is a clear and present demotion. So why? Why do you want me to do that? Take a pay cut. You making $5 million this year. Take a pay cut and make 2.5 so we can give this other guy a little bit more on his contract. No. Y'all should figure that out before you went to the table to offer money. That's the concept I'm presenting to you. So, come on, man. Stick with me on that. All right, let's get through the rest of this. This is Jalen Rose's daughter talking about Rachel Nichols. Continuing. Again, this is just showing me that this child does not know what the hell she's talking about. Why don't you take someone's actions as proof of what the principles like? Yes, Rachel Nichols posted about Black Lives Matters and that whole movement consistently. Does that mean that, again, when her livelihood is threatened, she should give it up to the Black Lives Matters movement? Here, give your exposure, give your money, give your endorsements up for this person because it's Black Lives Matter or because it's a black person. Give it up. Yeah, she's talented, she's good. We know she's good, but just give up your money, give up all. No, come on, man, that's just ridiculous. This is ridiculous. And again, this young girl does not know what the fuck she's talking about, because if you listen to the whole full complete recording that has been provided to the public, Rachel Nichols makes that very point. She makes the very point of why do they have to switch one woman for one woman? Why can't there be multiple seats at that table? Why can't there be multiple women at that table? Why can't we both be part of the uplifting of us as women into higher positions in ESPN? Why can there only be one? And now you pit us against each other and you make us feel a certain kind of way about each other in order to serve your purpose as a corporation. That doesn't make sense. No, it makes sense for turmoil to create conflict. Yes, then it would make sense, but it doesn't make sense in the scheme of just actually saying true to what you claim that you are a proponent of, which is quote unquote diversity.
about your fellow women complaining about being sexually assaulted at work. You think that's funny? What really got me is you're tired of the Black Lives Matter movement.
That was
because you weren't tired about posting about it or making your.
What's going on here? Okay, well, let's go with that. So that was Jalen Rose's daughter. So we've seen what Maria Taylor's first response was. We've seen what Jalen Rose's daughter, whatever that was. I mean, all right, go off. We've seen all those, and now, and hold on one sec. Maybe this is my issue here. Guys, let me know if the stream is if it's lagging behind. Let me know, guys, please, because I'm trying to keep up with whether or not it is on my end. But let's make sure you guys get a clean, clear look. So let me know. Let me know. Crap, this is why is it? Huh. Okay. So, let me see here, real quick. Whoa, why is that? Whoa. Why is that going on?